Celtic find themselves in an unfamiliar position. Very, very poor performance. Nobody gets pass marks. I am going to wait and try and get the Martin O'Neill interview. Obviously, this will be an interesting one. Some of the comments just say it all, don't they? Really, don't know how bad this Celtic team are. Yep, I'm live. That's all right. You'll be able to put it on. Just close the window over. Where do we go from here? I think that Martin O'Neill has came back in, and 35 years, the 1990s, the last time that Dundee United got back-to-back wins versus Celtic. Martin O'Neill got it all wrong today, says Del Scott. Good win for Jim. Is that? Well, that was minging. I think it was more than minging, mate. I think that Celtic ultimately, too many players at Celtic that are on loan that are just trying to get some game time. Too many players at Celtic that are just trying to play some football and see through to the end of the season. I think that's the most disappointing thing about the way that this season has went. You know, when you look at the loan players that came in the last window, are definitely not good enough. The fact that we're bringing in players on loan like Vuka, who can't get a game, the fact that we brought in Balak Wisha for 5 million. Martin O'Neill said he's not good enough for the Celtic team. If Balak Wisha's not good for the Celtic team, what does it say about the players that are here? Because the players that are here are just not good enough. Can Celtic recover from this position? It is not over. Martin O'Neill will say that it is not over just yet, until it's mathematically impossible. But people that go to games and people that watch games know that when it's not going to be that it's not going to be your season. And I think that seems to be coming across from some of the guys that are at the games. Just going to switch my WhatsApp on. Let me just say this. The Coventry Emerald bus, cracking bus. Doing the trip up. Where is that? Over there. Just move this over here. I'm going to take a picture of this. Big shout out to the Coventry Emerald guys. It looks like when you see the pictures of the field, I mean, it looked bad on the television, but come on. I mean, that's what we had to deal with today. There's no excuses. Dundee United still managed to win. Dundee United still managed to play football. McCowan is woeful. The trajectory is definitely downwards. Yep. There is no drive at the club. Could go on all day about that squad. I have one question. That is why Hatate was moved to right back when Ralston has the experience at right back, sitting on the bench. Real Hatate was then taken off for Yang to be put at right back. It's just, there's so many questions. We will listen to what Martin O'Neill, we will stick around and we'll get Martin O'Neill. Is it off? Give me 2 seconds and I'll get it back on. Let me just do this. Customization, subscribers. There we go. Sorry, it's back on now. There it is back on. I thought I put it on, but it obviously wasn't. just keep me on your toes more than what Martin O'Neill has managed to do with is more than Martin O'Neill's managed to do with the squad. I'm devastated. I'm honestly devastated. I'll be honest. There's one thing I think I'm going to go to the pub in the next couple of games and watch the football in the pub once the international break's done and dusted. It will be interesting to see if Martin O'Neill talks to the media after the game, if any player talks to the media, because you've got to remember, under Wilfred Nancy, Callum McGregor went missing. Callum McGregor didn't want to speak to the media under Wilfred Nancy. Piss poor, Baz. Yes, it is. It's worse than piss poor. Yep, so bad. The league is done. Classic reign of success is absolutely done too. God help us if Rangers win the league. We'll be left in the dust. We don't do meltdowns. Yeah, we don't do meltdowns. We just accept it. Don't know. This isn't a meltdown. This is just accepting the fact that we've been absolutely woeful this season. I'm going to move the comments over here so I can get this screen. And let's listen in to, not that you need to listen into it again. Dundee United with a 2-0 victory over Celtic. 19 shots. 19 shots at Celtic's goal. Jesus. 19 shots. I tell you one thing, look at the Dundee United players. It's like the little and large show. Just going to get this screen. I'm going to sort this screen out so that I can get it up. Just get it ready for the Celtic manager to come on, because we all really want to hear what the Celtic manager has to say for himself after this debacle. Absolute debacle. Don't want to listen to the Dundee United supporters just yet. Dundee United players. It's a sad, sad state of affairs that Celtic have just whimpered out this season. That you know, there's just no heart. I'll drive Calmac to the airport. Flight leaves for Saudi soon. Be glad of the break now. Just 14 points worse off than last season. Says it all. 7 games to go, troops. Let's hope that we have our shit together. Sack the board. Can we realistically turn this around? Don't know. Can we turn the performances haven't been there for a long time. I really can't see how we can turn 5 points around. I mean, people will say, look, you beat Rangers, you beat Hearts, that gives you 6 points, that puts you at the top of the table. And we're convinced we can't even beat Dundee United, for goodness sake. There's nothing that's telling me that this team can get their stuff together to put on a run. We needed to go on a run until the end of the season, and we haven't done that. Don't know. We haven't. We know what was needed. No games. Don't drop any points. Sad. It is sad. Falkirk for the cup now. Falkirk will be thinking that they could beat Celtic. Wouldn't surprise me. Sack the team. Sack the team and back the board. It's not just singing when we win. I've got to take the knocks on Martin O'Neill. Says Milky Celtic. We play Dundee next up there. Yeah, we play Dundee next up there. But the only good thing is the pitch at Dundee is better But you can't blame the pitch. Dundee United played on the same pitch. Dundee United managed to pass the ball. It's the players that, whatever they're doing on the training pitch, I'm sorry, Celtic, but whatever we do on the training pitch is not working at all. Let's listen to
back into things today, and that will, I'm sure, frustrate Martin O'Neill, because that didn't seem to be there from Celtic, and they're chasing a title.
No, I mean, you look at the stats, bar the possession, Dundee United are, dominant in every area. They look more dangerous. Said at half time, they're dealing with the pitch, they're just getting on with it. Of course, they're going to, because it's their pitch. But you can see the intensity, you can see the willingness to run off the ball, to run with it, to make options for your teammates, to cause problems. They cause Celtic problems, and Celtic didn't cause too many. They had one moment, I think, where Hatate goes for potentially a cross. Maynard Brewer almost makes a right mess of it, but they get a little bit of luck and it comes back off the post. But Dundee United got over last week pretty quickly. It will still hurt them because it was a derby, in such a great position that they were in, but they've shown that they've got character, they've shown they can deal with that. And Celtic just, I mean, even making the changes, some of the changes, I didn't really understand. I know that Iheanacho's not played a lot of football, but just...
Which one, taking McGregor off?
I think McGregor, moving Hatate to right back, Iheanacho, when he comes off, I think that, yes, he's going to tire, but tell him not to run about as much then, and still be the focal point. I actually thought he started the second half pretty bright. He was making the runs into the channels, he was holding it up. I think that you lose quite a bit when he comes off. Take McGregor off, I don't know if it was,
Well said, Tim. You don't lose you don't win the league when losing 8 games. No chance.
Attack to right back. I think when you look at Dundee United, you look at Will Ferry in particular, he's such a threat. Everything he does it his maximum. He'll sprint forward, he'll sprint back, he'll put crosses in, he'll get, in on the end of crosses. That's the second week in a row for Dundee United. Last week it was Will Ferry to Lucas Stevenson, this week it's Stevenson to Will Ferry, and they've got a goal from it. You know they're going to force you back. And I know that Celtic had possession, and I get the idea of putting a midfielder to full back because you're going to dominate the ball. But you're playing against a side that use the width of the pitch. They want to get the ball into the wide areas, particularly down the left-hand side. They want to get crosses in, they want to get runners. You've got Fata then that can peel into those positions. It wasn't just the substitutions as to why Celtic lost the game, but I don't think the substitutions helped them.
Let's take a look then at the first goal, Will Ferry's goal. It was won in midfield and then really well worked by United to create the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dundee United, they were aggressive.
Rio Hatate loses the ball. Look at this. That's Rio Hatate loses the ball here.
A lot of times as well, especially when you're playing against Celtic, you'd be afraid to commit bodies forward because of the pace they've got. But you look at the amount of numbers that Dundee United have got in the forward areas. But the key thing here as well, I mean, they were patient, they waited for the right moment, and as James said there, Lucas Stevenson, he could quite easily just absolutely smash that across. He's looking to pick out one of the two. It's in the box. I don't think he's aiming to pick out Ferry to back post, but once it comes there, listen, I'm fed up saying it, people will say it's a scruffy finish, but if you hit the ball in the ground, you've got a chance at going in the back of the net.
Especially
and he won't care. I mean, you go back to, I remember watching an English game with Arsenal. Mesut Ozil, one of the times he was applauded.
Him, yeah.
He was applauded for it. Listen,
he's doing that on a ball.
There's one thing for sure. Celtic are absolutely woeful. I'm going to wait for Martin O'Neill to come out. We just need to think about. I think we should really just start. Should we start looking to the future? And do Celtic need to come out and make an appointment for the manager now? What's stopping Celtic saying to Martin O'Neill, it's looking like you're not going to do it, but do you keep Martin O'Neill? Here's a scenario. We didn't keep Martin O'Neill for the cup final. Do we now keep Martin O'Neill on the hope that we beat St Mirren at Hampden? Do we then keep Martin O'Neill to the end of the season? Or do we go out and just go, look, this is the manager we want. We go and get the manager now that we want for next season. Martin O'Neill will be big enough and man enough to understand that, you know, maybe the work starts now. This love effect that we've got with Martin O'Neill, and, you know, we should have kept him for the final that we lost. You've got to say, should we now be thinking of the future and just say, look, we need to bring in a manager that's going to be here for the next 4 years? You've got to get the manager in now, and or even hope that we've entered into negotiations with a manager that's watching this Celtic team, watching the way that we play, seeing how bad we are. I had confidence this morning, but not now. Time for real protest tonight stuff. All this snowflake pish. It's rebel time. Scott. Exactly. But the fan base won't do it. And if the fan base were to, the people of the fans that are Celtic fans from Glasgow, if they were to go to Celtic Park tonight, all the police, all the board are going to do, they're going to phone the police and say, we need protection. It's a story, Bass, not a race. Until it's mathematically impossible, keep faith with Martin O'Neill. The title is over. McGregor should not have played. Rotten. My thinking behind bringing in a manager in before the end of the season is allowing them to see these players that we have just now, so that he can make informed decision on the complete disaster that is the club. Because if we give Martin O'Neill to the end of the season, say you give Martin O'Neill to the end of the season, which the club will do, but from a football perspective, if we lose against St Mirren and we've nothing to play for, say the scenario plays out that we lose at Hampden and we've nothing to play for, you know, we drop another 2 points in the league. Do you keep Martin O'Neill to the end of the season? Or, as a forward-thinking football club, do you go, this is the manager that we want for next season, we get the manager in now, he can clear out the players that he thinks are completely, absolutely useless at the club, and we can get players in early. Because if we don't, we're going to go to the end of the season, we're going to go to the end of May, we're going to get into June, the World Cup's going to start, we're going to be indecisive, we're going to wait, and this board will say, well, do we go for him, do we go for him? They enter into negotiations for the next manager, it drags on into July, we then get to the 1st of July when we're meant to be start pre-season training. The time it gets to the window opening, I want Celtic to have a manager in place. But the way that the club act, the way that the club think, do you know what? It's that bad that Chris Boyd isn't even sitting laughing. That's when you know it's bad. Because normally Chris Boyd would be sitting pissing himself laughing. But I don't think he could believe how bad Celtic are. That's the worst thing about it. Do you know?
It's a bit like, you know, pitch it's not great, you know, it's because of the pitch, you just need to go on with it.
Yeah, but I think though, James, like you go back to it there, like you could use both feet. You would want to go, you know, shift it from one and move it and get away. When you're at you're right-footed playing in the left-hand side, all you want to do is come back in. You've got to mix it up.
Yeah,
You've got to mix it up. You've at least got to. I mean, even if you make a mess of it once or twice, it plants a seed in the defender's mind, and also for the strikers as well. Because see in the middle, and that's probably one of the things that there's nothing coming in the box. The strikers are just like, you know what? Nah, it doesn't matter.
Well, how many crosses actually came in there the second half?
Hardly
Or how
any.
much possession Celtic had
Hardly
and the
any.
ball going away?
Hardly any. But it's this obsession with having, you know, if you're on the left, if right footer on the left and left footer on the right, so you can come in and try and get shots away. And I mean,
There's another
call me old
as
school
well.
of that, but if you're a team that's dominating the ball, I would want balls fired across the box.
But not even that. Make runs beyond.
Yeah.
Like you come into feet, you're coming into a position where look, it's not bashing Tonetke. He sits in a position where he's in the eye line of the fullback and he wants it to feet. and he wants to go and take touch. And obviously, Ed and myself, we wanted to go and take people on, but there's other parts of the game. You need to, if you're in that going short, spin in behind. It creates space. It doesn't have to be a perfect pass. You can create confusion, and then actually, you're beating the man without touching the ball. You're getting in behind a line, but because Dundee United know that he's not going to go and run in behind, they're not going to have runners in behind. They can step up a wee bit of the game and squeeze the game.
But the flip side of it as well, if you're not going to go to the line, if you're coming back, it should just be lay straight back to the fullback who's coming on just to go and deliver it. That didn't happen either. You go in the pitch, and you're trying to make something else happen again, jump through two people, bounce things back to the edge of the ball. It just doesn't make sense. I think for Celtic, I mean, they've managed to keep themselves in a title race. They have. I mean, there's no getting away from it, because I think a lot of the Celtic fans as well would have expected. Didn't expect to be in this position, because some of the performances have been really. I mean, they've lost more games than Hearts and Rangers combined, but they're still in there fighting. They've got to take a positive from that. But you just feel as if, I mean, the Angry Brigade were back at the end as well. They're frustrated. Everything. It's no good at Celtic right now. And again, it seems to, whenever you lose a game of football, it's like it just explodes. It's every little problem appears again, and I've always said it. I think winning games of football at the Old Firm papers over the cracks, and that's what Celtic have been doing recently as well. Because there's no doubt. I mean, Martin, and he'll come out and he's very good at his speaking. He'll come out and he's clear in his points and everything. But I think even since he's went back in to now, he'll be able to tell you that there's so many problems deep-rooted at Celtic. And that's not just off the back of this result today.
Loads of problems at Celtic, and we all know about it. And the fact that you've got someone like Chris Boyd pointing out the obvious, the fact that you've got somebody like Chris Boyd who, don't know,
two goals that they conceded against their rivals across the road last weekend. So let's get his thoughts after another victory at home to Celtic. He's with Luke.
they've now got the Dundee United manager up talking. We will hear from Martin O'Neill. We haven't hit bottom yet. That's coming next year, with whichever underwhelming coach we appoint, and months of trying to bed in a team of bang averages. Spot on. Calmac is finished. Yeah, I would say that Calmac. The season is over. I'm not happy with it, but we need to get the manager in now and start the rebuild instead of waiting until the summer. And other teams are way ahead of us by the start of the season. I pretty much agree with that, mate. If it was me and my club, do you stick? You obviously stick with Martin O'Neill, but do you believe that these players have it within them? You look at Martin O'Neill in the eye and you say, Martin, do you believe that these players have it within them, honestly, to win the league and win this title? 8 games. There's never been a team that has won the league having lost 8 games. Never. Not that I could remember. Wait and see. McGregor should have never played today. Yeah, I think that we're all in agreement with that. Is O'Neill staying the best option till the summer? Until the end of the season? And O'Neill won't be here next season. He doesn't have the appetite for it. He doesn't want it. He knows that it's too far gone. Been a season ticket holder in the club 67 for a number of years. Won't be renewing this. Cost a fortune and not seeing the investment on the pitch or within the stadium. Absolutely gutted, says Scott. I know that when I was in the Celtic club lounge at the halfway line, the tickets had went. I know that those tickets are about $2,500, so I don't blame you for not renewing those seats, mate. I remember when I came out the lounge because I don't think it was good value for money. How long does it take to get a manager to come out and speak? Hopefully he's going through every single one of them. Come on, moderators, what you doing? How come I'm having to go in and sort out stuff here? As a TV league, 8 losses might be the new normal. Not a chance. Not a chance. Celtic need a massive overhaul from the boardroom to the players. The place is just going downhill all over. Hearts will win the league. Yeah, I think so. Martin O'Neill can't wait to get out of Celtic. Yes, this is true. Very true. You keep saying that Martin O'Neill, just to see it out, what you need is huge changes structurally to be happening right now. And then the new manager after the season finishes. First out the building, Maloney, Fozzie. Maloney can't even be trusted to get a pathway. I mean, as much as it's a shocker, is it not over yet? I would say that let's listen to what Martin O'Neill's got to say. Hopefully he'll be up in a second. We can only hope that Hearts win. We can't let them have the Champions League money. Sad state of affairs, but I think that we're pretty much correct on, and I think there'll be a lot of Celtic fans. It's one of the worst things ever. I mean, who do you want to win the league? Hearts or Rangers? You don't want any of them to win the league, do you? Such a sad day seeing a club I no longer recognise. We need to go back to our belief, bring back a team we can all be proud of. It's interesting. Calmack isn't interested. Well, he could be away in the summer. But we can beat Hearts and Rangers at home. Can we? We couldn't beat Rangers at Ibrox in 120 minutes. Don't know. We'll wait and see. I don't believe that we can do it, but you know, nothing's impossible. And I don't think that losing my rag publicly would benefit my own mental thinking. And anyway, my missus doesn't need to hear me fucking shouting about Celtic. Don't know, she knows how disappointed I am. Disappointed today, but lots of points to play for. Yeah, there is lots of points to play for, but yeah, we don't do. We'll wait. Be glad of the break now. Just 14 points worse off than last season. Publicly, somebody's on the wind up in the comments section, as always. Hans spent 40 million. Jam spent 10 million invested. What are we doing? Yeah, we're bringing in loan players. The double is ours, says Eddie. He's got a bit of belief. Calmack is too slow. Lack of ambition. Yep. A lot of conflicting comments. The ball's in our court, but we have. Yes, we have. I don't see us going on a run. No, I don't see us going on a run. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I don't think that. Do you know, when you've got people like Scott and when you've got. Do you know, there's guys that have just come out of the ground and said, and their belief that it's not going to happen. You know, people not renewing season tickets for club lounges and stuff. It's not going to be easy. We've still not heard from Martin O'Neill as yet. Are they going to listen to Martin O'Neill?
Be in terms of their title credentials.
Martin O'Neill is up next after the break. A couple of minutes till Martin O'Neill has his say. It's a sad day, don't know, but I don't think that we can get overly angry about it, because it's not as if he's spoken on radio bars. Martin O'Neill's going ballistic. Calmack going to Saudi. Let's take him there quick then. Martin O'Neill's got every right to go ballistic. These players are shocking, pathetic example of Celtic players. They couldn't lace. Listen, Neil Lennon was classed as a mediocre player in the team of fantastic players under Martin O'Neill's time. There's not one of these players, apart from Sinisalo. I would say that Sinisalo was better than Rab Douglas. There's only one player in this Celtics team that would get into Martin O'Neill's team, and that would be Sinisalo. The only one. Not another player. Not Oxlade, Chamberlain, not anything. We're supposed to be a PLC run like a burger van. Biscuit tin mentality all over again. Your video last week told the truth. Still money in the bank. We finished third. DD needs gone. What makes it worse from a Celtic fan's perspective is the fact that we have all this money in the bank. We had money to invest. Michael Nicholson's inability to conclude football negotiations goes all the way back to last season. The fingers will rightly so point at Michael Nicholson and co again. They will say that they've given Martin O'Neill, they will say that they've backed every manager. They backed Wilfred Nancy. They got him in Julian Araujo. They backed Brendan Rodgers to a certain extent. They brought in numerous players for Martin O'Neill on loan to the end of the season. Martin O'Neill had to take responsibility for those players. It's the best of a bad bunch that he got offered, wasn't it? I think that at any other time in football history, Martin O'Neill would go, what? Is this really the standard of the player that you were being offered at Celtic? Is this really the standard of the player that we're having to go for? I think that there needs to be a bigger clear out than not just only the board, but I would say right throughout the club. I think that we need someone that a manager that will come in, and you need the hierarchy ultimately that believes in a manager, that will give a manager a 4 or 5 year contract and say, right, we're going to run with it. Because if we don't, it's going to be short termism. It's going to be, let's just get someone in to win the league next year. If that happens, you bring in someone that's like Ange Postecoglou. If everyone goes, who the hell's he? He has a fantastic season. He wins the league. He wins 2 seasons in a row. He brings in players and then he leaves. He doesn't build anything that has a sustainability about taking the club forward. It's all here and now stuff. Reactive, not proactive. The club are in a stage where they will say on the board side, they will say we are being proactive because we have brought in, or we are bringing in this person to join the board to work as, we need to. Can't wait till Martin O'Neill gets back on the radio and tells us all. This will be the interview with Martin O'Neill coming up now.
Martin, what's your assessment on today's game?
I thought we had a lot of possession in the first half. We seemed to be camped outside their penalty area, weren't able to penetrate the team, and very much so in the second half we lost our way completely.
What do you put that down to?
Well, I think that the first goal was going to be vital in the game. We probably didn't create enough, and maybe didn't adjust, particularly in the second half, to conditions. But that's taking nothing away from Dundee United. They deserve to win.
Is that frustrating then, if you were unable to adapt and maybe second half the game gets away from you?
So the game got away from us. That's true, because the goals win matches, and we started to chase the game a little bit. But even so, we should have been able to do better.
Is that a worry at this stage of the season? I know you said before the game it would be a setback, but it wouldn't be mortal if you were to lose. But when it starts getting into that business end,
well, that's how I feel about it. This was always going to be a difficult game for us, and away here at Tannadice, as I said to you, I think before, I've never had an easy game here, ever. And so, yes, it's a setback, and as you quite rightly say, at this particular time of the season, you can't really afford to do that. But it's not, we're not finished yet.
What do you feel needs to improve then, especially getting into this really business end of the season?
Well, the very obvious thing to improve is we've got to create more chances, and we've got to take them.
Is that going to be easy to implement? Do you feel that?
No, that's one of the hardest parts of football. It is, teams up and down the country feel that's very, very important. It's important to try and create chances, and the very natural thing ultimately is to put the ball in the net.
Was that maybe a frustrating thing as well, that the changes didn't have that impact that you wanted today as well?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we had we changed things around. Put in Rio to right back. Maybe he'd done that once before in an emergency, but it was really to get some other creative players in the field, and it didn't materialise. We just didn't create enough.
You've got a couple of weeks now with the international break. I know some players will be away before you're back across the road against Dundee. What do you have to assess and maybe do reflect on ahead of that one?
Oh, plenty to reflect on, absolutely, yeah. Because we, it was, and certainly in the last couple of months, we've shown a really great spirit and a determination to fight back in matches, to go and maybe claw late goals, such things like this here. But the fight and determination, I thought, was a kind of a hallmark of us. I felt that was missing in the second half today.
Appreciate your time.
No problem.
That was Martin O'Neill telling it as it is, as he always does. And I think that we'll probably just leave that there, because I could really do a bit of drink now. Nice cup of tea to soothe my throat. Anyway, Celtic do find themselves in an unbelievable position this afternoon. We are in third position. Martin O'Neill thinks it is not all over. Do you think it's all over? It's not all over until the fat lady sings, as they say. To me, sounds like she's just getting warmed up. Anyway, try and have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I know you can't have a fantastic day, but just smile, be happy, and it is only football, as much as we love Celtic.